Hey, it's Ron McLean. Welcome to Hockey Talk on the Rock.
With Laura and Keith.
It's interesting.
So let's back up a second.
He played absolutely out of his mind.
It made no sense to me.
And now, here are your hosts.
Here we go. Hockey Talk on the Rock, episode 1010. Coming to you from Italy and Ladysmith, and it's been a minute. We haven't done this in 4+ months, I believe it's been. And we're gonna comb over some things. The hockey season has officially wrapped. Free agency is coming up. The draft's coming up. We're gonna try to dissect everything, but of course, we're gonna try to focus on our hometown Canucks mostly. So I think we'll kick it off quickly, just reviewing our way too early season predictions from before the season started, because I feel like that's an apt way to go with the Panthers just winning the cup. Do you recall our picks?
I think I might have had New York.
So we both picked Edmonton to come out of the West, and we both picked Edmonton to win the cup, I believe.
Okay.
And you picked the Rangers, and I wanted to pick the Rangers, but I want to be different, so I picked the Devils.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, yours was a little bit better than mine.
Who would have saw the Rangers being the Canucks of the East this year?
Yeah.
But yeah, a little bit off. We both got Edmonton coming out of the West.
Yeah.
Florida was just a beast, and I mean, props to them. They added Seth Jones and Brad Marchand, and both those were massive, massive acquisitions for them through the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that team, I think, is probably the best team I've seen in the salary cap era in terms of being an actual team.
I'm built for playoff hockey.
And built for playoff hockey. I mean, I don't know, I can't remember which Tampa team had the Coleman, Gaudreau, Yanni Gourde third line. But I mean, they were very good too. So I don't know if it's a recency bias thing, but I just feel like they're mean, they're rugged, they can score, they can beat you kind of in any way. And you saw it in the finals, right, where they were scoring a ton of goals and Edmonton really couldn't keep up with them. But that's more Edmonton's game because they can't defend or they don't have a goalie. Sorry, now I'm being mean, but it's okay. I can't help it. And Florida was just better. They're just better than them in every way. And in my eyes, I know everyone wants to say it was a close series. I don't think that series was close at all. I think that Florida kind of messed it up and they should have won in 5. At least in 5, maybe in 4. To me, there was no level of competition really with the Oilers. And sure,
Yeah.
Hyman was banged up, and I get he's a big part of the team. But it's just once you shut those two guys down with McDavid and Draisaitl, they don't really have a response. And I mean, Tkachuk said it too, and I know that Tkachuk obviously hates the Oilers and he'll say whatever, but I kind of agree with them. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's time will tell. I mean, nobody in Edmonton thinks McDavid's going to leave, especially since I guess his wife has several businesses worth a few $1 million in Edmonton, but that doesn't mean that can be sold.
Yeah.
I'm of the hopeful Canuck fan that he goes elsewhere,
Me too.
and purely for the entertainment value.
Me
But
too.
I think Florida's going to be at the top for a while, basically for as long as Bobrovsky can stay to at least average form.
And I mean, they have some interesting decisions, right? I think both me and you completely agree that Bennett is staying. I just can't see him leaving. It's too good a fit there for him. And I looked at his numbers before he got to Florida, and literally it's not that much better than like Podkolzin. Like he completely changed his career in Florida, and I just can't see how he'd want to go somewhere else. I can also see Marchand staying, but maybe he's priced himself out. I don't know. And then Ekblad, I don't know. He could stay, he could go. But the thing about Florida that they've done so well is they have these defensemen who are kind of project defensemen, right? Like, I mean, even Seth Jones, everyone thought he was washed up, but he was in Chicago on a shitty team. And, you know, Ekman Larson last year, Nate Schmidt this year. They seem to have guys that come in and all of a sudden play again their best hockey. And I think it's a big credit to their coaching staff, basically.
And their team culture, really.
And their team culture, for sure.
Yeah. So, no, I agree. I can see them losing Ekblad just for the money, but I could see the other guys sticking it out. They seem to have the forwards especially have a tight knit group, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, it fits so well too with the Rat King being a Panther. Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, he's got a second cup and he can go elsewhere for the money, but at this point, why wouldn't you just chase cups?
I mean, yeah, if it fits so well, the two of them, I mean, obviously again, Bennett to me, but also Marchand just fits so well in that city and for that team. So let's see.
Mhm. Time will tell, because we got July 1st coming up, and Sam Bennett's the top center available, I guess, and Mitch Marner, I guess, would probably be the next available, which maybe is our next talking point, and then we could talk like Ehlers and Besser and where we think they might end up.
Sure. Um,
But Marner, I've kind of stuck with my gut throughout all of this and told my hockey pool group I kind of feel like I can see the Red Wings. That's
interesting.
that's my guess because it's close to Toronto. He would have
Interesting.
the opportunity to take a team who's been close to making their
Yeah.
return to the playoffs and also have an opportunity to stick it to the Leafs probably 4 times a year, being in division.
Yeah.
Uh, and they've got the money. Like I can see it as a fit, but I mean, I think Anaheim and Chicago and Utah are the three teams that are getting talked about the most.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I kind of think I think Chicago's gonna throw a ton of money at him because they need someone to play with Bedard, right? Like you need someone on somewhat of his level, whereas right now it's him and I mean a bunch of young guys, okay, but no one's the same level as him, and you need to start surrounding him with pieces. So I think they're gonna offer the most money, and my bet is either Chicago or I think Carolina because I mean Carolina's tried now 2 years in a row to get a big fish, and they keep missing in some way. And I think that they're also kind of willing to give him money. And I think that Marner will like Carolina because it's not that crazy of a hockey market after Toronto, and they're close-ish to winning, right? But anyway, those are my two teams that I think for some reason.
I like Carolina. I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, sure, he can chase the money, but at this point, the biggest knock on him in his career is his inability to win. So you think like trying to win would kind of outweigh just taking the big bag.
But I think
And
Carolina would give him the best chance to win right now.
that's what I mean. Like, I can't really see, like, I get Chicago's going to back up the truck and
Sure,
want someone to play hard, but from Marner's perspective, why?
sure.
Like, why would Chicago when there's not even a guarantee of making the playoffs with that
Yeah,
roster?
I guess you just have to believe in what they're growing in that group.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I mean, I get like of the three I listed, Chicago, Anaheim, Utah, I feel like Utah would be the best bet for a
for
team who would spend the money and have a chance of making the playoffs.
yeah, it's true. Um, how much money do you think he's gonna make?
I mean, because he's going to go July 1st, I would say like 13 to 13 and a half per.
Okay,
I have a hard time saying more than 12 because that's what Rantanen got, and I think Rantanen's just a bit better of a player
sure,
overall,
sure.
but
I
Rantanen did
think
it in.
someone's gonna offer him 14. I
You
really
think
think
so?
it's gonna happen, yeah. Because how
I
often
think
do players of his level, and I mean, yeah, okay, obviously you can knock on Marner all you want in terms of winning, but I mean, I would say I don't know if he's a top 10 player in the league, but he's close. And how many times do they actually go to UFA?
no, I know. But
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think teams will offer him that money. It's just a matter of is it going to take that money
they
versus
take it, yeah. And
taking.
again, if he's kind of learned his lesson from taking all the money you can get versus leaving a bit so you can build a better team around you, because I mean, again, that's been the problem in Toronto really for the past however many years that they can't build because they spend too much money on their four, right?
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Marner. But
Okay, so very quickly, Ehlers. Do you
okay,
see a spot?
Ehlers and Besser are tough because I think again the same teams are interested in them. I'm gonna say I think Ehlers ends up in LA.
Okay.
I don't know.
I could, I want Ehlers in Vancouver, despite the injury history.
Uh,
Uh, I don't see it. Um, Yeah, Ehlers, where could like Montreal, I've heard. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that too.
So I don't know. I'll go with if you're gonna go LA, I'll go Montreal. And then Besser, I know everybody really wants him to end up in Minnesota. I don't think they have the money to do it.
You don't think so? But they're coming out of their cap hell
They
situation.
got to extend Kaprizov. They're already in this contract thing with Rossi because they don't want to give him the money because of their money stuff. And
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Besser, I don't know. I feel like he's going to be added to a complimentary team who just needs some more goals.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I also could see Besser in Carolina. Like, I feel like I'm putting everyone there because I think they're close and they have some cap space now to work with.
yeah. I'm going to actually go with one I heard this week that I liked and say the Rangers because
Okay.
they're the guys with Miller there
Sure.
and they moved out Kreider
Yeah.
and I probably end up moving out Keandre Miller, which I think ultimately will be a long-term mistake for them, but I don't really like the job that Chris Drury has been doing anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, right, I mean, whether or not you believe Edmonton is going to re-sign McDavid this year, and if he ends up going to UFA, I mean, there's the report, right, that it's like 5 or 6 teams that he would consider it's really short, and the Rangers are one of them. And I'm wondering if teams that think they have a shot with McDavid are going to play it a bit easy this year. I
Um,
don't know. Again, I could be completely wrong, but
I think McDavid aside, next year's UFA class is
it's
Pens,
insane. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that could cap going up. It'll be interesting. This will be an interesting offseason for sure. Um, Last one that I was just going to bring up was, oh, did you hear the Demko for Nuge rumors?
No, I haven't heard it. And I mean, I don't want to give them a goalie.
I know it's such a risk, but what if Demko it goes the Corey Snyder route and he's never
Sure.
the same?
I know. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm open to trading Demko because I think Lankinen last year proved he can be a number one. And then, with Shelov's this year with the AHL playoff, Ronnie's been on. Maybe he's going to be more ready next year to be a backup. Maybe they can do 1A, 1B kind of thing. But I'm open to trading Demko. I just don't want to trade him to the Oilers.
Understood, but the Nuge BC
I mean,
boy,
Nuge would be nice to come back and to be, the 2C on this team. Like I think yeah.
I like the idea. I mean, I hate the idea of Demko returning to form
Yeah.
and getting a cup
Yeah.
with him or something, but um, yeah, I don't know.
On that note, how depressing is it watching the Stanley Cup final when there's so many players that used to play in Vancouver? Like okay, I mean Gadjevich and Schmidt and um Forsling obviously was early in his career when he was in within the organization, but all that stuff, even Podkolzin, but Podkolzin I don't think matters that much, but it's just frustrating to hear all these names and to be like, okay, specifically the defense in Florida, like we had so many problems with defense for so long, but we had these pieces and we just couldn't make it work. Anyway, yeah.
It is tough, but none of those players would be who they are if
No, if
they
they're
stayed in
not on
Vegas.
that team. It's true. It's true. Yeah. I know. Anyway.
Mark Colson, when he'd pop in a goal, be like, oh, we could use a guy like that. But then it's like, well, no, we tried that. Didn't work.
I mean, I don't think Podkolzin is I mean he's a kind of a fourth line NHLer, right? I don't think he's gonna progress much past that, but maybe he'll prove me wrong in Edmonton then.
I doubt it. Okay, so the Canucks' big plan for the offseason was they needed three top six forwards, which is huge because everybody needs forwards. Basically, Pittsburgh is like the only bona fide seller.
Yeah.
Um, so how do they do it? We talked about this very briefly. I think they realistically do need to circle back on Pia Suter, and this week on the radio they were talking a ton about how they have re-engaged with him,
Yeah.
and then how the number is actually sounding like it might be between 3.5 and 4 per.
Yep.
And I think like due to a lack of options really and how it'll cost them no assets to do it, I think they kind of need to. And like we talked about, basically because of the versatility, because he's a good face-off player, he's a really good penalty killer. I know he's not super fast, but he can play up and down the lineup, and we know there's a good chance that Heedle might get hurt again, so you might need him to fill in that center role. I
Yeah,
think that's kind of building one of those three spots with him is a no-brainer.
I like the idea of keeping Suter as long as it's not too costly. And then, I mean, the thing with him is maybe he'd be the type of player that would be okay with taking like a bit of a longer deal with a lower cap hit. Um, and I think it's kind of low risk with him. He's still relatively young and he fit with the Canucks really well. Obviously, I mean, we have the new head coach now, but he was the assistant coach with Talkett, so I like it. I'm okay with filling one of those three spots, as you say, because there's not going to be that much out there. I mean, I don't realistically think the Canucks are going to sign one of the big free agents, so why not give it a shot? And
Mhm.
I'd rather do that than say overpay for like a John Tavares, even if it's short term. I don't know. It's just a me thing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if I had to choose between signing Tavares or trading Demko for Nuge, I'd be going for the trade myself.
Sure.
But yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one because of the Edmonton thing, like we talked about. Um, and then, as you probably know too, they offered up 15th overall and
And
unnamed
something.
role player for Marco Rossi and got turned down,
Yeah.
showing that obviously the value of the mid-round picks in this draft aren't very valuable,
No.
as it's supposed to be seen as like a weak draft. One guy said like outside the top seven it gets pretty weak. One other guy said the value really drops after the 12th or
Yeah.
13th pick.
Yeah. So I mean it's not a
But
great
if it
ship.
doesn't have very much value, then that's one of their biggest assets to trade. Then what are they really
Yeah.
going to get?
Do you think they trade Lekaramaki?
Yes, but I think it would be a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he needs just a little bit more time to simmer. I think, he got a couple big goals in one of the AHL final games recently here.
Yeah.
He's obviously got that offensive ability to put the puck in the net, but he's still just he hasn't physically built out. And I think once he does, I think he's going to be a really good goal scoring winger.
I have a
But at the
bit
same time,
of sorry, not with Lekaramaki because now I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry. But I have a bit of a controversial opinion. And I would be okay. I'd be more okay with this than trading Lekaramaki, with the Canucks trading one of their young defensemen. So either Mancini, the Pedersen DPD or Willander, because I mean, again, you have to consider the Quinn Hughes stuff. I understand that, but I think now we have a bit of a position of power, which is ironic on defense. And I'm okay with moving one of the three, and I'd rather keep Lekaramaki because right now we have less options on forward who can score. But anyway.
I want to see Linus Karlsson be a permanent bottom six guy next year.
Sure.
Maybe even on the second power play unit from the way he has that net front presence. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I would be more willing to see Mancini or Willander go. Willander because he's kind of like the mystery box. We
Yep.
don't know exactly what he is yet.
Sure.
DPD looks very promising.
I
Um,
agree.
I mean, I'm one of the few people I think that would be open to seeing like there was the rumors being bandied about after Dallas got knocked about Hronik for Jason Robertson.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too.
I mean, I know that would not help the Quinn Hughes situation because he likes his D partner and blah blah. But I think, like you said, defense has kind of suddenly become this position of strength, and that would clear cap space off the books to take Hronik out versus moving somebody on like a league minimum deal.
Yeah.
Uh, and Robertson's a scorer, and that would help a lot.
Yeah. Um, I like the idea of Robertson in Vancouver, and obviously, if it's a Hronik for Robertson, for me, that's really good. Um, but let's see.
I don't know how much of that is like a true rumor anymore since they traded Mason Marchment and cleared up some
Yeah.
cap space that way.
Yeah.
Because they are in a cap crunch, but they do. I wouldn't say have to re-sign Jamie Benn, but he's kind of like the new Mike Modano there. He's like a bit of a legacy player where you kind of got to keep him.
Yeah. And I
So
mean,
how
they
much
did
money
just re-sign Duchesne, right? So, yeah.
on a super team friendly deal?
Yeah. but he's also still making the money from being bought out in Nashville. So it is super
Right.
team friendly, but he's still gonna make like 8 million a season or something. So good for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good deal for them.
yeah,
So yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe we'll try and do something right around the free agency period in July there.
yeah.
Uh, see what happens, see what the Canucks do, and I'm sure our good friend over at Kempner Canucks, Rev Trev, is probably going to be doing a live July 1st thingy again. So you never know, we might end up talking to him on that day as well.
Yeah, that was fun.
Do you have any other overarching?
No, nothing so far. Let's hope that the Canucks can pull off some good moves and have a better season next year.
Hopefully, hopefully they were right there. Despite everything that they went through this year, they were not that far out. I think a lot of teams would have been a lot more crippled.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, this has been it. We did it. We did it. It's only took 4.5 months, but look at us.
Woo!
Episode 110. This has been Hockey Talk on the Rock.
Doo doo.